What I'd like to show you is how we could use a flipped advising approach working with undecided students. Now, what I'm going to do is just very briefly show you two different e-tutorials that NACADA offers. And you can find out more information about this by looking under NACADA online and then going there. But the two I would like to show you first would be the one here. And this is one specifically of working with undecided. And what I'd like to show you with this one is that as you go through this, we have it set up so that different weeks, you end up by addressing different areas of Gordon's curriculum for undecided students. So what we do is we talk about readings, we do some exploration with this, and we also show some examples of how working with undecided students can be put into this type of curriculum. And so what we get into is first the self-assessment area. After reviewing a lot of the research and the other type of literature with undecided, we take a look at the self-assessment area and curriculum for students, self-assessment. We talk about the key components. Now, many of these type of links, we also have that one worksheet we've given to you about resources for undecided on the internet. So you may want to take a look at this, and this is true for all the areas within the area of her curriculum for that worksheet. So the idea here is that we could go through and spend some time developing this and showing you how it can be done in terms of a broader approach to developing this type of advising curriculum for your program at your institution. We get through the idea, of course, educational planning and career planning, integrating both of these together, and then a number of different steps that can be done to help students with that decision-making process. Now, one way of looking at this decision-making process is by looking briefly at the other tutorial that we have, and this is one for developing a flipped advising approach with students. And we have an example even within here about using the Holland code. And we start out by talking about the importance of using a planning tool that we use from backwards by design, which is a curricular and instructional approach for developing and planning on intentionality by starting out with learning outcomes, looking at what you're going to assess, and then developing your content. So when we look at this, what we have here is an example within this course of how this can be all laid out in a very, very specific type of way. So we can look at student learning, we can look at the evidence of assessment, and we can look at what type of learning plan and content there's going to be. And so what we try to do is help everyone who takes this e-tutorial is figure out how you can use this by developing a flipped advising approach for any type of topics, any type of student. But then we end up by showing you an example of this. And an example of this could be this. So this is the actual content we're going to be showing students, and then I'm going to show you the assessment. As far as the content is concerned, what you can see here is that we have a combination of three types of content. We have one, that content comes from the institution. We have content that could come from external to the institution and content that is created. And in this case, we're putting this all together to help with that decision-making process by, instead of having students go all over the place, it's all here in one location. So examples of this is an overview of Holland's theory, which is created content, but it also uses here content external to the institution. So each of the types that you have here also has some examples of occupations in this. So if by clicking on one, we can get an example of a website that we trust because we know the information is accurate. And so we can go through here and combine the content that way. There's a nice example here of Rogue Community College of a content from the institution. And they also do a nice job here in terms of realistic, of showing not only the institution from the institution about the curricular program, but as you can see, they also have parallel to that from ONET, the actual occupational information. Again, this helps with the decision-making process by showing students where it's all related. And we have a number of videos here for universal design, so we have a lot of different types of approaches. Now, again, we have quizzes with this. We want to assess students. So in this case, one little quiz that we have built in would be at least defining what does realistic mean? Okay, what is the definition for it? As all 5 or 6 of them, pardon me. We have one of application. Which type of occupations listed here would be most closely associated with this type and interest? And one here, what is your type? So this way, you'd always have the student's type available because it's now digital. All right. And so there's some other examples of some modules that we can end up by using here in quizzes. Here's some short answer responses. And so what you're seeing is we're using the ability of the evaluation tools within a learning management system to provide us with a number of ways of having feedback of students engaging with the content. And in this case, how is Holland related maybe to Myers-Briggs type indicator? Maybe more of a sophisticated question. We may not want to do that, but what is your Holland code results? Do you think that these sound like you? So we're not saying that your results are, what comes up, but does it sound like you? We're having the student interpret this. And so a number of different types of question here, a list of academic programs that might be related to your Holland code, which ones might interest you the most? Why? So we're doing some valuing, some affective Bloom's domain here. And so as we go through, we have a number of ways we could ask these type of probing questions and have students respond. And that would include more robust questions, even maybe as far as looking under this is more of a written assignment. So it's more, rather than just short answer, maybe a little short essay that students could use. So at the end of the day, what we're really looking at here is, with a flipped advising approach, is using this in a structured way with Gordon's curriculum to use both the ways of organizing the content, ways of organizing our evaluation, so that we can have these type of dialogues more with students. So hopefully you'll find this helpful and gives you a few ideas about the direction you may want to head. Thank you.